Well, hello there. This is Shiva, and I guess this is part one on building a table in PinBuilder. And you're looking at this and you're going, wait a minute, Shiva. This is not PinBuilder. This is Future Pinball. And I say you are very correct, Funky. Um, the thing is after working in PinBuilder, I suddenly realized just how much I really missed some of the tools that are in Future Pinball. They make life so much easier, especially if you're doing an original table from scratch. And there were all sorts of things in Future Pinball that I really kind of wished was in PinBuilder. Basic things, but I really do. So I just decided it was just simpler just to build it in here because I was struggling with how PinBuilder does things. And there were definitely some things that I would really like to see. But anyway, so and on top of that, with the GPU issues that I reported yesterday, yeah, things are a little shaky on the PinBuilder front, to say the least. So what I'm going to do is build a table in Future Pinball. This is the basic new table. There's no BAM in here or anything. It's just stock vanilla FP. First off, what I'm working on is making sure that my base template that I am using, as you can see, everything is even. In case you're wondering, if you notice when I click the line, this is a common technique that I have. I draw straight lines and vertical lines, and they're perfectly straight, perfectly horizontal. And I use these to measure the heights of certain objects. Like for instance, as you can see right here, the tops of the slingshots are the same. The bottoms of the slingshots are the same. The flippers are the same. I know it's incredibly anal of me, but I do that. And this guy here, he's actually being shown as being locked, so he doesn't move. But you know, I can unlock it, and then that means I can move it. There's one feature, the ability to lock objects so that they don't accidentally move. That would be great. But anyway, as you can see, with these particular lines that I have here, you can see I have them set to 0.2 millimeters above the surface playfield, and I have these set to a width of 4. This was something I requested, was the ability to change the width on certain objects like walls and metal, wireforms and stuff. Because some of the objects are just a little bit too thin, and they get very hard to change. While with this, if I need to grab something, all I have to do is say go 20. There we go, 20. I'll set it back to 4. But you see what I mean, eh? Right? Anyway, this is also set to be non-collidable. So what will happen is the ball will just pass through, and then I colored it a nice little pink color so that I can see how this, I can see the lines because I've got the same thing going, I believe right here. Hang on, let me just go in here. I'm still having a big problem with translating from all of the controls that I've just relearned in PinBuilder and then going back into Future Pinball. Yeah. The other thing is you can multiple select items in FP, and that is really useful. PinBuilder, you can't do that. You have to move each object separately, at least as far as I know. And oh my God, does that take forever? Oh, yeah. And you have to make sure every object is placed. So I'm going to just set this to a nice pink color. So I know that it's a short line and that therefore should be ignored. And I'm going to remove the collidable, and I'm going to set it to my height, which is 0.3 millimeters above the surface of the playfield. And as you can see, I have a little object where everything is attached to. There it is, surface PF. And that's uncollidable. Oh yeah, let's make this full. So there we go. Just going to save that. This is vanilla FP, so it does have a tendency to crash on you. Okay, so what else is here? You see these big white lights. I also use these as spacers. This is the equivalent to roughly the width that I want for my board to fit through, the width from left to right. So as you can see here, It's 35 millimeters in diameter. The pinball is about 26 millimeters in diameter. There's a little bit of confusion. Some people say 26. The manufacturers themselves actually say it's 27, but you know, in FP it's 26, so in FP, so that's what we do. And if you notice at the bottom here, oh, I keep doing that. You don't need a key to be able to go up and down, Paul. You should remember that. Usually, and this one here, this is usually what I set for between my flippers, but as you can see, it isn't quite there, and I just don't feel like moving it. It's really more likely 48, so it's just ever so slightly less than 2 ball rips, but that's okay. We can get away with that. Yeah, it's 46. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. You just want enough space so that the ball will be able to escape. The idea is with 2 ball rips, if this flipper's all the way up, the ball can just barely drain. So what you really need to do is to put this back to 52. And we are going to just move the flipper. And again, you don't need to use your mouse to move objects because that's kind of a lesson in frustration. So but we can move an object exactly 1 millimeter if we hit the arrow key. So if we hit the arrow key a couple of times, right? 1, 2, 3, and then we hit it a couple of times so that it becomes even. 2, 3. Yeah, we'll do 3 and 3 because that wasn't even before. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Done. Now we should have an almost perfect 2 ball length between the flippers. Yep, pretty close, close enough. Let's move this this over so that it's sort of centered. Right there. Take this guy, unlock it, move him with the arrow keys so that he is pretty close to that. Yeah, it doesn't need to be exact. It just needs to be close enough. And then we just lock it so we don't accidentally move it. And while we're at it, let's lock these guys too as well. Now, I discussed this in the video just before this one, where I did a lot of complaining, unfortunately. Sorry about that. But this is establishing my shot lines on the game. I'll just show you what that is. Again, even the magnifying and demagnifying of the table and close up, I just like better in FP. It just seems to be a lot better. Anyway, stop hitting keys, Paul. You don't need to. Just use the scroll wheel. Thank you. But as you can see, I'm establishing my shot lines, and I loaded in a sort of semi-blueprint. I do admit that I kind of forgot which key it was to generate a blueprint. I looked it up in the videos, and I could only find it from an old version. It says you hit the O key to go into a blueprint mode, and then you hit the screenshot key. Well, the O key doesn't even work anymore, and the screenshot key apparently has been changed as well because it's not actually generating screenshots where Anna has said in her video where it was supposed to be. So I don't know if it's changed or if that was updated. There is, of course, no reference of it anywhere in the program or in the documentation. So, you know, I just literally, I ended up making a screenshot and modifying the image in Photoshop to the proper scale and size and everything else, and then just loaded it in instead. Yeah. The best way to describe PinBuilder is I can see what Anna's trying to do, but I also think that she's making things way more complex than they need to be. She's kind of trying to reinvent the wheel, and unfortunately, a lot of the things have become very, very unsuccessful. The wheel in PinBuilder, a lot of these things, they're not round. The wheel's not round. They're more like the square. I just really think that she should rethink some things here because, yeah, it's really, really tough. And to build a table, especially from scratch in PinBuilder, because you can't have the ability, most importantly, to do things like this. And this is the reason why that I've gone into FP more than anything else. It's the ability to move multiple objects. With PinBuilder, I don't know of any way to move multiple objects. I've only been able to move. So every object in PinBuilder, I have to move constantly, one at a time, and then reset them. And because it's a 3D environment, I just can't get the hang of that 3D view that we have to use because the perspective constantly changes as you scroll around the table. Well, this is a straight 2D, and most importantly, all you have to do is if you want to move a whole group of objects, just select them. And if you want to move additional objects that don't select, you just hit the special key, just click on what you want. And if you don't want any objects to move with it, if it's highlighted like that, just click it. I think this is done. And on top of it, you can actually box an object using your mouse by just holding the left key, just creating a little box. There you go. So now I can move this entire thing. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. Right? And I would help if I had my display playfield on. So I have to do this again. As you can see, every single object is in fact highlighting. Just have to redo this again. I managed to get a little bit of the plunger. It's not to say that FP is perfect, because far from it. There are some things that I really, really like in PinBuilder that I really wish was put in FP. But overall, FP has a lot better things. Now, the thing is, the scale on this game is something that I should also note here. Okay, I would say that is actually correct. Yeah, that might be a little bit correct. The scale of PinBuilder, the PinBuilder uses a 40-inch playfield in terms of vertical, and the actual scale for games like, say, Firepower, which is what Star Destroyer is based on, that actual scale was, I believe it was 41.25, though I may be wrong, but it is definitely a little bit longer, so the scale's a little bit off. This table, if you can see, I have this set at 516 and 1068. I'm not too sure if that's correct, but stop hitting the damn key, Paul. You don't need to do that. But anyway, as you can see, so this is sort of, might not be the right scale. So I'm just trying to set things so that I can compensate for the scale a little bit, so that when I do build this in PinBuilder, it's not, the balls are not going to get trapped because I didn't make the lanes long enough and stuff like that. Oh, that was perfect, wasn't it? So there we go. Now the rest is just moving everything. And again, it's just box, move into position. Doesn't need to be exact, but it does need to work. It just needs to look good. Oh, yeah, by the way, if you want to, if you are looking at this from a Future Pinball point of view, you can do all sorts of things, including change the display grid, which is incredibly handy to have. There's also a feature, a lot of people don't actually use it, but there is the ability to snap an object by a millimeter. So, for instance, I select this, I go like this, and it goes snap to the nearest millimeter. There you go. automatically snaps. It's a little bit off, but that's okay. I don't care. And as so, here's where we're starting the process here, right? Building the table. We're going to be using this in PinBuilder. As I said, this is in new in is sorry. This is the new table using vanilla FP because I have no intention of actually working on this table in FP. Hopefully FP will crash on me because I got lots of stuff going on my computer. And yeah, apparently it's not set up to be recorded properly. And I am very, very sorry. I will get that fixed. But I do have table view going, but it's probably being captured in by OBS at the present moment, but that's okay. You'll be seeing basically the editor view anyway. Stop it with the damn keys. I'm finding I keep pressing all of these damn keys to do something in FP, and that kind of does suck a little bit because I'm just not used to it. Okay, so the next thing is to start rebuilding this table. I was wondering about the kickback, which is right here, but I do have the room. I don't. A lot of people kickback is okay, but it got a little bit overused, and even a lot of the manufacturers just stopped using it after a while, or is used very rarely now because, to be honest, kickback systems on the side, they're a huge drain monster. So, uh, and the players were basically saying that it was, too tough. They kept losing the ball too much. So, that's the reason why you don't see too many systems with kickback after, I would say, 86, 87. High speed era, System 11, as it's normally referred to, but you don't really see them beyond that. So, yeah, that was the reason why. But, it is sort of an updated version of Firepower. So, oh, I almost hit the keys. I'm still learning. I'm still working on it. But anyway, this is what I have so far. This is what I built in PinBuilder. So I'm just going to duplicate it in Future Pinball, and then we're going to start adding the rest of it. In the meanwhile, I just want to keep these videos short and sweet. I'm not going to really show you a lot of me building because that can be very long and tedious because I have a very, very bad tendency to change my mind about stuff, or I get better ideas or something like that. So I'm going to spare you the process. So I'm just going to be doing update videos. Whenever I have time to work in this, I'll do maybe an hour and a half of work, and then I'll just do an update video for you so that you can see what my progress is like. In the meanwhile, name Shiva. Yes, I'm a pinball designer. Been designing pinball games on a computer since Pinball Construction Set, which was, 1982. So hopefully I can do a really, really nice layout here. Anna, the developer of PinBuilder, really, really wanted us to do some pinball tables and to update some things and stuff ourselves. I guess, as I said in the previous video, we just don't have the tools to be able to do so in PinBuilder, and it is a very, very long process. But at least using FP, I know it's not the way you're supposed to do it with PinBuilder, but using FP does have certain advantages. So I believe this is exactly how we're going to be doing this. It's just a lot easier for me. All right, simple as that. So in the meanwhile, hope you had a great day. My day was okay. Yeah, I haven't actually done anything. I should be doing a lot of stuff. I'm just not really feeling 100% today. So there you go. There's a good enough excuse. And I think I'm suffering from hockey hangover after having to watch the Vancouver Edmonton game and watch Edmonton almost snatch defeat from the jaws of victory. God, what a brutal giveaway. Anyway, but they still ended up winning. But still, wow. So, yeah, I think I need to just relax for the day. But hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you actually learned a couple of things, whether you were with PinBuilder or with Future Pinball. And hope to see you in the next one. Bye for now.